good morning from the Reseller Dojo today. And I'm going to talk about something serious and just talking from my own experience. What do you do when you have to pivot? I don't have anything else to fall back on work-wise now. That's the whole thing. I'm overqualified for anything for most of what's around here. And even if they do want me, which they do, I'm mentally not prepared to commit to doing it. I don't even want to shave for them. And 5 minutes into an interview, I'm not really into it. And on the other spectrum, I'm overqualified and too old for some of these jobs. A lot of labor stuff. There's farm work. I couldn't even get an interview for picking cannabis. I'm shocked. Well, maybe they know something. Oops. No, it's just that they're looking for lettuce pickers, strawberry pickers. It's farm work. They're not looking for 60-year-old guys with an MBA, unfortunately. And the ones who aren't paying much. And those jobs give me like, in 5 seconds. So I'm not doing that. I will probably deck someone and walk out the minute they speak, wrongly to me. However, eBay, I picked up the slack when I had to. I was living in the most expensive place in the world. Took my little bit of pension, took my little bit of retirement here and there just to pay off some bills. And then started the eBay thing back up, which was a side hustle since 2001, it turned out, and I didn't even know I had been around on eBay since 2001, and I have. So it was easy to get rolling again. I had a store, I had the setup, and I just started hitting thrifts and going through stuff in the house that we were cleaning out and started selling. And somehow I guess I fell back into clothing because it's what I know and it's the niche that I could always see. I always have this theory that I could walk into any thrift store in the world and spend $20 and come out and flip it to $100 on eBay. Maybe less now after the new, the way they do fees and things now, promoted listings. So I didn't have that stuff in 2001. But now, I was able to at least pay a bundle of bills, keep myself afloat, not bang out the credit cards completely and kind of just tread water, which was pretty amazing. But somehow along the line, it became a real store. I got a couple of thousand, 1,100 items. I sell a number of things a day. And eBay, it takes consistency. You have to keep going. So I have a lister overseas who helps me. I take photos. But, when I went through this last bit of first of all, I'm sick of clothes to begin with. They're hard to deal with. The prices have gone down so far. The highest end ones are the suits and stuff that I have, and they're the hardest to photograph. They get lint and things on them, and even those aren't selling for the shirts. $1,000 suits sell for $150 maybe, and that's good money, but it's a lot of work still. And but still, lots of t-shirts, lots of bread and butter stuff, lots of J. Crew and name brand and stuff that I don't care much about, and it's just widget work, and I'm knocking it out, and that's okay. But now I've kind of run into, when I got up to where I'm living now, I said, sourcing is not looking good. There was only one local place. I was mapping out the distances I'd have to drive to go to different places. And I was like, okay. So I went to the local thrift, it's the Salvation Army. And the first few times in there was like jackpot. But I wasn't really looking for a lot. I just wanted to get a few things to sustain. So I could list 5 a day, 10 a day, give my guy something to do. And, I was trying to find easy stuff like t-shirts and stuff that's easy to photo. No suits, no jackets, barely any pants, really. Shorts and tees, that's what I was looking for. Easy. And I was finding them actually, and a lot were like $1, which is even better than you do with like the by the pound. So, and some of them were pretty good, and I was flipping them quick, and I've still been flipping them pretty quick. So I like that. But I went in again not too long ago, and it must be a new manager or somebody, and they re-tagged everything, and everything went up to like $4 to $5. None of these dollar deals, even the half prices on very few tags. It was kind of like what happens. This is, if you know thrifting, it happens all the time. They always go through these periods. It's like, we're way too low in price, and a manager comes in or corporate comes in and says, this is no good, and then they up everything, and then the local people go, nothing's going to sell now, and then nothing sells. So they go around and they re-tag everything in the other direction, and it just goes back and forth. And that, and it's also seasonal because you don't know, when the kids leave the colleges up here, a lot of stuff gets donated because they don't want to move it, they don't want to take it with them. They bring a bag on Goodwill on the way and they toss it, whatever. So, it's people in the know like me. Can't you pick up these tips and tricks in a lot of years? But I'm at a point now where I can't really source clothing unless I really run around. And to run 3 hours, 4 hours each way, like a 7-hour drive, to do an hour or two's worth of bin diving or whatever, and I don't mind that. That's fine. I can't guarantee though, or I can't even be confident that it's going to be worth the money. It's like if it's going to make me less than like Uber Eats, and I'm going to drive 7 hours, well, I could drive 7 hours locally and make more doing that. You know what I mean? It's just not lucrative at that point. It's expensive. It's dangerous to drive 7 hours in one day, 4 hours, 3.5 each way. So I have to think about doing that. And, I started looking at my auction sites again that I had been looking at previously, and I had stopped. And I actually started meditating on this and praying. I was like, started looking for jobs. I said, I think this is over. I'm sick of it. I don't want to deal with clothes anymore. I just, if there's a way to stay in this, I'm going to stay in it, but I'm not sure how to stay in it. And the crazy thing is, I had already, over a year or so ago, I spent a lot to buy some really cool vintage things. They're actually antique rifle scopes from World War II, Vietnam War, Korea. Really cool stuff. And some of them sell for quite a lot. And but they take a lot of research, a lot of work, and I've just been sitting on. I'm not doing anything. I think partly waiting till I run out of money or something. It's like this, my back's to the wall. I'm gonna come out with these. Come on, let's go, universe. I'm ready. But I really should be just getting those out there, because if I sold one a month, I would do, it would pad my expenses quite a bit, and help me to reinvest in the business. But whatever happened the last couple of days, or the last 3 or 4 days, I meditated, I was praying on it. I won an auction that had all kinds of crazy old 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s hot rod magazines and some vintage models and stuff in the boxes sealed. I was more or less comping everything while I was doing the auction, so it was pretty cool. And a couple of things I didn't even count because I just that's cool, I want it, And but it was a long drive away. It was 3 hours and 10 minutes each way. Plus, stopping to eat and do something else, or hit the bathroom, whatever, get some gas. And I had to leave the dogs home. So I did it. It was cool. Came back. The next day, somehow, on Facebook Marketplace, I got gifted a professor who passed away last year's estate. And they sold everything except for a bunch of boxes, or a lot of this classical music ephemera, because that's what he did. He was a choir professor, and it was there's CD sets and books of scores, and old photo books, programs from the Royal Philharmonic, and programs from London, and just a lot of cool stuff. And I was like, I would have paid a little for it, but they were like, no, you're doing us a favor, just take it, please. I was like, wow, no one ever gives me anything, and I feel uncomfortable accepting anything. And here I drove away with a carload of really funky, cool stuff that I enjoy researching, not like clothes. I like looking up royal, opera programs more than I like looking up another, oh God, J. Crew pullover, blah, 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 with extra pet fur. Smells like weed. No, that's not true. Very professional. But yeah, I enjoy that kind of stuff. It's just much more fun. So now I've got rifle scopes, and now I've got a whole bunch of hot rod or 70s med magazines, and then I got a bundle of Yadros, which I've had and forgot about. Well, I haven't listed, I don't know. There's a couple of them worth $200 a piece. I paid $30. I got to get them out there, It's just crazy. But Yadros are one of those things that it's not close, but it's another one I don't like, because I'm like, I'm going to break them. I always break the damn things. In fact, one of the best ones, the most beautiful one, I noticed the foot's broken. I don't know how. I don't think it was like that when I bought it. I think I did it. But I can't find the foot, so I don't know. It's not in the box. But that stuff's so fragile, it splinters into nothing. It could be dust for all I know in the box. So yeah, I've got Yadros, I got gun scopes, I got this, I got the magazines, I got bowling pins, which I found out are actually sell kind of well, and I want to use them for an art project, because they actually, hey, I shouldn't give away this secret, kind of stupid of me, but that's what we do on YouTube. We share these secrets. But bowling pins are a common gun target now, because gun targets are overpriced, very expensive. Ammo's very expensive, all the gun stuff. After COVID and all through our political upheaval, the gun gun sales have just gone through the roof. Everyone has guns, so just know that. But targets are very expensive, and accessories are very expensive. So these groups, actually gun clubs, buy up the pins, and then they have what they call pin shoots, and that's actually a thing, a pin shoot, and they shoot it bowling pins. And I wouldn't have known what a pin shoot was until I landed in the haberdasher business. So I've got pins to sell to pin shooters and all that. And then last night I won an auction. I dropped about $200 or $300, but a couple of the items are. There's one, if it works well, there's an audio item I paid $148 before fees and stuff for, but I would never usually pay that much for. It's going to sell for between $500 and $1,100. Probably pretty quickly. So, and I got a bundle of stuff, not quite like that, but a few other things that will sell. I paid 3 and it's going to sell for 60 or 70. So it was really lucrative, and it's not that far a drive, only about 45 minutes. The only problem is it's bulky crap that I hate to ship. A lot of projectors and speakers and receivers and optics and microscopes and things like that. So, but it's just like, I asked sort of the universe and God, or meditated on it and prayed on it, or whatever you're comfortable with, for wording for that kind of thing. And suddenly, in less than a week, I pivoted from clothing into hard goods, and funky, cool, vintage, antique-ish hard goods. That stuff I dig and like. And I don't feel too fearful or not confident, because it's all, I comp most of it. I either comped it or I like it. So those are the two ways to go. My intuition is as good as comping sometimes, and if it's not, I'll deal with it. And if you're doing this 20 years and your intuition hasn't gotten close to comping, you got to work harder. Study a little more. So, but I'm just letting people know today, instead of panicking, just breathe, meditate and think on it, and think of ways to pivot, because eBay has bazillions of items, and I know they want everyone to be a wholesaler selling widgets like Amazon so that they can make, more fees and have steadier growth. But it's still built on us mom and poppers who do unique things and sell funky stuff, and, recycle and upcycle and sideways cycle, or whatever the heck they want to call it. And we keep a lot of it going, man. We keep eBay going. We keep PayPal going. Those are massive corporations. They hire a lot of people. They pay a good amount of taxes. Not enough, but you know what I'm saying? Different story. I don't want to go there. I'll be another 10-minute video. But yeah, think about pivoting. If you have to, just think about ways you can do it. So I said, when I move up here, I'm just going to need to drive more. But I thought my driving was going to be to get clothes. It turns out, as I've scoped things out, my driving is more just to pick up auction-y type stuff. And I'm getting hits from these storage auctions who aren't too far. Excuse me. And I used to watch those TV shows and I liked it, but I didn't have time. I didn't have space. I was going to run around. Now, if I see something that looks pretty cool, I'll go for it. I have a little bit of intuition. If I see a bunch of music gear, I know there's probably more music gear. So things like that. But all the flippers are doing that. And, there's avenues, there's more things. There's wholesale, there's overseas, there's different, things you can do. I'm working on a product also, because I want to be able to manufacture my own product that I can do. And I also want to help people, and it's available. I've been paying for Shopify, and I'm not on Amazon yet. It's like, if you have a product and you're not on Amazon, you don't exist really, I put out ads and I got a lot of hits. So now I have to redo all that again. But, that's one of the things I guess I want to talk about too, is you just got to do it a day at a time. You have to kind of breathe. I don't know why, when I went to work every day, I was good at it. It was easy. And I just felt like whatever they give me all day, I'm going to knock out in a day. That's not a big deal, And in fact, I'll knock it out earlier. But the fact is, some schmuck's always going to bring me the stuff at, the most important thing at 3:30. So I'm there till 6 doing it instead of leaving at 4. But that's because you're dealing with people. And then I don't really have to do that so much being in this self-employed kind of thing. In fact, it's the complete opposite. When I went to work every day, I was like, I could knock out anything that's thrown at me in a day. With self-employment or this kind of hustle thing, I'm like, I have so many lists and so many ideas and so many things going on. I got the eBay store. I got the product stuff. I got a children's story that I'm having illustrated right now that I wrote. I have another book I'm supposed to be writing. I have another one after that I want to write. I got musical pursuits I'm supposed to be doing. There's so much. There's no way I could possibly do a third of my list in a day. It takes me 15 minutes to prioritize the list to know what I actually should do that day. And even that doesn't get through, because it would almost require like perfection of everyone I have to deal with. And that doesn't happen, They're not my employees. They don't work for me and I don't work for them. They're businesses or vendors. It's business to business. And you treat each other differently. And you have to, there's a respect level that you have to put up with. When I was in schools, people called me a Monday at 8:05 and started ripping me a new ass. I know from business of years and years, you never call anybody at 8:05 on a Monday, because you're going to get horrible service because they just got in after the weekend. They haven't had their coffee. They haven't checked their email. They haven't done anything. And you're just going to wreck their whole week in the first 5 minutes. And sometimes people learn to just not do that, or put up with that. And other people learn not to do that to people, but some people just don't. So they do it. And it makes for a lousy work experience, in my opinion. So from my vast experience, yes, it makes for a contentious, toxic place. from without and from within. So now my dogs are my toxic thing from within and from without. I'm enjoying this whole pivot thing, and it's like it's freshened up the whole store. Suddenly I'm selling way nicer stuff, and it brings me back to like I don't learn. I kept doing clothes out of fear and because it was working and I needed the cash flow. But the biggest sale I've had to date came from one of these auctions. I talked about it way back, and it was a 1940s typewriter with Hebrew keys. It was very unique, and it turns out it was even bizarrer that it had some kind of Yiddish keys or something. I didn't know anything about it, and I ended up selling it to a Jewish man in Taiwan. I sold it to Juan Epstein from Malcolm Back Carter. It was a Hispanic Jew in Taiwan. That's quite the salad right there, cultural salad of that guy, and he was a happy man. He got it, and he paid $1,500. I paid $120. He paid $1,500. So that's a better flip than selling 25 J. Crew pieces of ass. Thanks, Matt at Thrift Delight. Thrift of Life. Yeah, we sell a lot of ass, but the ass pays the bills too. But sometimes you just want to sell some brain. Sometimes you want to sell some filet mignon, or just stuff that's interesting and doesn't make you feel like you're just doing assembly line work. Especially when you're working alone by yourself or have very few people helping. It's like the game has to be interesting in itself. If it's just for money, it kind of fades pretty quickly. So trust your instincts, trust your intuition, have a little guts, take $100 and look for a way to pivot. Find something else and then list it, put it up there, see if you can sell it for quicker, for more, whatever. Get outside your niche, because the niches close up whether we like it or not. Like clothing is a difficult one. You don't know where it's going to go. It's seasonal, it's weird, and it depends where you live. When I thought Florida I'd find no sourcing. I had incredible sourcing. I thought here I would find a lot of sourcing, and it's not a lot at all. It's very antique-y here. So there are a lot of people with antique stores, and they already have their own mentality of what things are worth, which is a little whacked out, and they don't really there's no one dealing in clothing and things like that. So there's only a couple of, commercial thrifts like a Salvation Army, and they don't have much selection. They don't have a lot of good stuff. And it's poor up here. It's not as affluent in the places I've been in before. So there's a lot of shopping there. People actually buy. It's not just flippers, going in to rip things out. It's people. It's a smaller place, less selection, higher prices, and people are picking through the stuff before. So it's not lucrative to do a reseller business out of. And the closest bins, to be honest, are 3.5 hours away, and they're probably pretty good. And I may, if I have, like I said, I can pivot. So if I can't find good hard goods, although I probably have hard goods to list for the next 6 weeks now, to photo and deal with. But if I can't, I can pivot back to clothes. I just have to drive more, and I just have to kind of do like I said, it's got to be almost like a pilgrimage, like go, spend a day or two, I'm just traveling from place to place, source a bunch of clothes and bring them back and have stuff to list for a long time. I had a friend many, many years ago who used to drive from New York all the way down to Mexico, buy just blankets and pottery, bring them back, sell them in the flea markets up here in the Northeast, Englishtown, and these others that they had, Aqueduct maybe, and made a pretty penny for himself just working on the weekends. And that's, 40 something years ago. So it took me 40 something years to learn that there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's good money. So, everybody stay cool today. Stay chill. Don't panic. When you panic, we try to control and force that square peg in the round hole. It never works. We just get frustrated. So just breathe, step back from it, think about it. How can I prepare myself for changes, transitions, pivot? How do I lower my expenses? Look from within. How do I bring down my costs? That's the first thing I always do as a purchasing agent and an MBA. Bring down costs within. It's the easiest way to make savings. They always used to say, I used to say, to create sales costs money. You need to pay a salesman. You need to do outreach. You need to do marketing. You need to do a lot of things. They cost money to make a sale. Sometimes to make $1, you're spending 70 to make that $1. Whereas internally, if you just cut expenses, it costs nothing. It just costs the amount of whoever the purchasing agent is or whoever I am who's doing that. But you can cut a lot of crap and waste. Look at your own budget, I just found out I'm still paying for Max, for HBO Max. I pretty much stopped watching it when Game of Thrones is over. I'm still paying for it. Why? Canceling it today. But these are the things. That's on the list, number 37. So anyway, have a great day today. Be well. Take care of each other. Keep hustling. Keep grinding. And, learn to settle, breathe, see where you're at and pivot. Pivot, man. You can do it. Peace. Love y'all. Be well. Take care of each other today. Please like and subscribe too. That would be nice. Thanks.